Hello, Kelly Bear here. Welcome to my channel, and as you'll see from the video title, today I'm going to be doing a September favourites roundup. So yeah, let's just get into it, shall we? So, for those of you who have not seen one of my things what have tickled my pickle in the last month of videos, I do have a bit of a structure to these. So first of all, I talk about the decks that I have used and any decks that have come into my collection during the past month. I then go on to books that I have read, books that I've bought maybe. That reminds me, I need to move one over there. Yeah, that's usually what people are here for, right? Decks, books, and then I go on to other stuff. So I will talk about YouTube channels, I'll talk about podcasts, sometimes I talk about Instagram, you know, just things that I've enjoyed, recommendations, music. And then I have a little bit at the end for miscellaneous, just whatever doesn't fit into those other categories that I have enjoyed or have been doing. And then I sort of sometimes talk a little bit about plans for the next month. So it is the 1st of October as I am filming this video. It is officially actual spooky season, and like Jack Skellington arising out of the fountain pond, what is it, in Halloween Town, where he's like, that's me every 1st of October. I post that gif every 1st of October across all my social media platforms. I have done for years. It's become like a tradition of mine, and it's more to just to get like excited and just like be like, hey people, like it's the 1st of October, like and for me to like really get into the Halloween spirit. So, you know, 1st of September I'm like ramping up a little bit, but 1st of October, that's it. We're going the full send on the spooky. So yeah, because this is about September, it's not so spooky. And I will be diving straight into the decks that I was using. So I did what I had been doing for the last like 2 or 3 months, which is picking out deck combinations at the beginning of the month that I was going to use for that month, but without deciding which combos I would use each week. That I would sort of leave up to just how I was feeling on the Monday morning of each week, that, you know, new week of that month. So the first pairing that I had, so I was doing a tarot deck and an oracle deck. And I've been sharing these readings over on Instagram as well as on my community feed here on my channel on YouTube. And so I've been doing 2 to 3 tarot cards and then an oracle card pull. And usually what I'm asking is, what do I need to know or be mindful of today? And then what kind of energy do I need to embody or attitude do I need to adopt in order to navigate this day most successfully? And then the oracle card is usually a message of encouragement and support. But that depends. Sometimes I will ask like a question, but I keep it quite vague on Instagram, like on when I post about them, because, you know, some of this stuff's poisonal, but I like to share it because it might resonate with someone else, or, you know, just looking at the cards might resonate with someone else, or people just like looking at pictures of like fun deck combos. So the first combination I had is in this like mini spread cloth. This is the prototype of the like the small that I made. Spread wrap cloth thingy, and it's the Tarot Nova, which is one of those little decks that you get in like a little box, and there's the little book that goes with this in a little they usually have them on a little like spinning rack next to the till in bookshops, and I've had this for years. I used to have this, I think, in the 90s, and then I don't know what I did with my copy, or I lost it, or I got rid of it, or I gave it away. I can't bloody remember, being honest with you. And so I rebought this one maybe in 2016, I can't remember. But yeah, it's actually a really good little deck. It's very simple, it's very glossy, and it's quite small, as you can see, which is really cute. But it really does the job. It's Smith weight based. I mean, the 4 of Pentacles with the little piggy. But you know, because people always see the Four of Pentacles as quite negative, but also you could see that as like not such as a greedy pig, but also a piggy bank, saving up resources. So I like that that sort of has two meanings to it there. For example, we have a little sneaky rat for the Seven of Swords, but again, rats can be quite smart and mischievous, having had rats, pet rats. So yeah, I really like this deck, and I hadn't really read with it for a while. The book is very strange. I was reading it because it's just a tiny little bit for each card, you know, it's not much at all. But I sometimes was like, where did you get this interpretation? But you know, everyone has their own thing going on with tarot, right, when it comes to interpretations. So I paired this with something that would sort of be almost the opposite, something that's also very simple with the, you know, the central image like this one, but mostly with a white background. So I went with the Empty Cup Oracle by Stasia Burrington. I mean, I don't have that many Oracle decks, and it is a bit, there are more on my list I would like to get, because I do find I struggle to pair Oracles with Tarot, because I have a very vast and diverse range of Tarot decks across all sorts of styles and, I've nearly said customs then, systems and things like that. But not so much with, I don't even think I have more than like 8 Oracle decks. And when you've got like coming up to, I don't know, maybe almost 200 tarot decks, and you've got like 8 to 10 Oracle decks, you really start to feel the pinch when pairing them, because it gets really, really difficult. So I would like to get more. But yeah, this works really nicely. I'm actually going to have to put these down and do it like this. A couple of one or two of these Empty Cup Oracle cards do have a black background, but I just really like the way, there's that piggy again, they just really work together. And I like that I was going to say I like that the Oracle card is bigger than the Tarot card, because this is a standard size. This Oracle deck is like a standard Tarot size, but because this Tarot is so small, it still sticks to that like tradition of Oracles usually, not always, usually being bigger than the Tarot deck. One super glossy and one sort of rose petal finish, but not like an irritating rose petal, like so here we go, there's one of the ones with the black background. I love this, right, because look, there's a crater and you could like pour the coins into the crater. Maybe you need a bigger receptacle for all your moolah and your treasure, or you could bury the treasure chest in the crater. So yeah, I think they worked really, really nicely together. I really enjoyed this pairing. We'll probably use it again at some point. So that was the first week of September. So I've had that in my head since the 21st of September. I have to be careful not to sing stuff. You get in trouble for that on the YouTubes. So yeah, so that's my first pairing. The second pairing, oh my goodness. Now I tend to not use the Oracle deck that I used as a message of encouragement and support, because it has quite a lot of sort of more shadowy aspect cards in the deck as well, and it's the Earthbound Oracle. So I think I was using rather than using the Oracle card as a message of encouragement and support, I was just free form reading it as part of just like a continuation, or just as a amalgamation of the tarot reading as well. And I paired it with the Daniloff tarot. This is my second edition that comes in the beautiful sort of open up cardboardy box thing. I do have on top, I have what I like to call the mystical shower curtain. I tend not to read with that one. These are the backs on this edition, and it's my favourite edition. It's a little longer and slimmer than the more recent printings, and the cardstock is it's a little, you know, and it has the sharp edges, and I feel this suits the artwork much more. It's very medieval style artwork. It's stunning. So what I'm going to do, actually, meant to be showing pairings. I'm going to show you. It's been September was a month, right? It was a difficult month for me on a number of fronts, and I'm still kind of reeling from it. And this weekend I'm just like, my brain is just, my head's a shed, as Simon at the Hermit's Cave would say. So yeah, I find that these paired really nicely together. I mean, that's perfect, right? Having a quill and an ink and for a medieval, you know, like illuminated manuscripts and. So yeah, it just somehow, it just works. Like, even the coloration, you can see these sort of muted taupe and mushroom shades in the, come on camera, in the oracle card, sort of pulled out slightly in the wands in the tarot card, you know, like they just, and candles and medieval, like candles would have been used in the medieval time for illumination. Like, it just, look how, look, just this is just so funny. The sun in the background there is pulling up the like golden tones in the tarot card. See what I mean? Like, it works, doesn't it? This one makes me feel sad. I usually take this this luck card out because I find it's like, well, it's not lucky for the rabbit, but I managed to kind of make my peace with it a little bit this time around using it, because I was like, do you know what? In my head canon for this card is that this was ethically sourced because someone came across the carcass of a rabbit that had died, and they decided to preserve it and utilize it as a good luck charm. So not perfect, but I'm trying. I've put it back in the deck to see how I feel about it. So yeah, it's a really, again, we've got all these like swirly curlicules of the wolf's fur and of the stars, and then you've got these sort of swirly blowing and flowing of the water and the blowing of the ribbons and the clothing. Come on, camera. It kind of works. It kind of works. So really enjoyed these two together very, very much. And I actually found that I could use, oh, someone's talking, not me emulating that wolf in the card. I was just, are you okay, boo boo? She's sitting in a really derpy way. You can't really tell from here, but on the camera, I mean. But she's sort of really like splooted with her back legs are almost like, what are you doing, boo boo? But yeah, I find that because I tend to use oracles as an encouragement and support message in my tarot readings. Sometimes I'll use them as like a wrap-up card or a little bit of extra information, which is when I will use this. But I don't really use this for encouragement and support. And I was like, how can I use this deck? Because I felt like these match really, really nicely. How can I use this deck in my daily readings that's not going to feel, that's going to work for me, basically? And yeah, like I said, just including it as part of the tarot reading just really helped. So I really, again, really enjoyed that combo. Again, we'll probably be combining them together at some point in the future. So I have to be careful with this. This is one of the decks I try to be very careful with because it is a little more delicate. So yeah, sorry, I should have taken these out of their boxes like I did last month. I wasn't very prepared. I do have a cup of tea, so I have to keep remembering to sip. I have some biscuits as well, as I am wont to do, so I may have to pause every now and then to nom a biscuit. Dunk and nom, dunk and nom. Because, you know, you gotta be able to, you gotta dunk the biscuits before the tea gets too far down. Otherwise, you're putting your hand right down in your mug to get to dunk with the tea. Anyway, never mind. I'm digressing. I'm distracting myself. The third combination I used was Le Tarot de Gulliver, which is a Marseille, and that's by an artist called Gulliver, something Gulliver. I don't know. And the Liminal Spirits Oracle by Tempest Zakroff. This one I hadn't used for a while because I've been really pulling the Anatomy of a Witch Oracle, also by Tempest Zakroff, which I really like. I like this one as well, but the other one, I think both of them have been, did Simon buy me this one as well? I think they're both from Simon. Either Simon at the Hermit's Cave or my mum got me this. I can't remember. I'm telling you, my memory is absolute horseshit these days. I'm like, I just can't remember shit. So anyway, so these two, I was like, let's give this a go. It's a little odd of a combo. This is a really fun Marseille. I really like it. I love the dark backgrounds. But can you see that blue? I was like, some of the tones really work. Some of them work less well than others, but that's often the case with oracles that are not necessarily made to go together. You can kind of see. So I feel like it kind of, and it's, you know, like some people will choose pairings, they won't be looking at the aesthetics of a deck, they're looking at the energies of a deck. And I have done that in the past. Like, I'm like, these two decks shouldn't work together, but they do, and I have done that in the past. But I'm a very visually orientated person, and so having decks that visually look nice together, I find really helps me sort of read with them. But yeah, I like MA the Grey has had some really fun pairings that they've shared on their community feed, which you wouldn't think work together but do. But yeah, I like stuff to go together, but these kind of work. This card actually came up for me during that week that I was using them. So yeah, see, you can kind of see it kind of works. I love this Marseille though. It's quite a chunker. It's quite a big. I have to side shuffle it because I can't. Like when I riffle, I mean, I can't. And it is very difficult to riffle because it's very stiff. So yeah, just side shuffling it works the best. But yeah, I do like this one. This is one that I got back in January, February. Again, I'm gonna say it. I can't remember. But I do have a walkthrough of this. I think it was a live walkthrough that I did because I was being a lazy bee. A lazy biatch. But yeah, good combo, enjoyed it. I do like the books that Laura Tempest Zakroff makes to go with her decks. Makes and writes. Writes the books. I guess writing is a kind of making, but just go with it. Okay, and then the fourth and final pairing. Do you know what, actually, my tea was getting a little, like, it was already starting to turn, so I'm going to pause and have a bicky. Okay, so scarfed a biscuit. I've still got two left. The fourth and final pairing are two decks that are made to go together, and that is the I could have unwrapped this while I was paused. The Deviant Moon and the Oracle of Black Enchantment. That's the front card. Let's take those off. I always put them on top so I remember to remove them whenever I take it out of the box. And the Oracle of Black Enchantment, both by Patrick Valenza. And yeah, I mean, obviously these work nicely together. I do feel the Oracle of Black Enchantment plays even better with the Triomphe de la Luna, purely because the art style is much more sort of hand drawn, or it just they sort of have an older feel, where this is digital artwork, which is great. I love it, but it's a nice juxtaposition, I guess, depending on what mood you're in. Now, I had forgotten that although the Oracle of Black Enchantment is a fun deck, it's playful, it's silly, it's cheeky, much like Patrick Valenza's work, just generally. I had forgotten that it can also be quite difficult if you're in a bit of a rough spot. And my head has been, it's been, like I said, September is a rough month, and last week particularly was quite, just for me. So having this Oracle deck, it has a dark meaning and a light meaning, but even the light meanings can be a little gnarly. I actually found this quite difficult as a message of encouragement and support a number of times, pulling cards from this. So I have to remember that I need to be feeling sort of, I need to have more mental fortitude, feeling more sort of, feeling less wibbly. Feeling less fragile when using this. And actually, yeah, it's the first time where I've really been like, oof, yeah, I'm struggling a bit with this one. It's making me feel, you know, I had a real case of the morbs. I've got some stuff going on, and yeah, this was probably not the best choice, but I was like, it's the week before October starts, I'm getting my like spooky decks on, you know. But yeah, it was a bit like, oh dear. So yeah, and then I do have another deck to show you, but it is a Liminal, and it's one that I received as to review from the lovely Logan at Lark and Legend. I do have an unboxing first impressions walkthrough type video from earlier this month. Newsflash, I love it. This was my, you know, as Lenny's are, a good, quicker, down and dirty, something's come up during the day and I'm going to pull like anywhere between 2 to 5 cards on a particular topic. And I wasn't sharing these any time I pulled these through September, because I struggle to like take the pictures and write the write up sometimes of just the daily draw, and I didn't want to give myself more work, frankly. And also I need to have some stuff to myself, but maybe if I pair this with a tarot deck at some point going forward, maybe this will pop up in my daily readings or weekly readings. But it's a beautiful deck. The production value on it is great. I love the cardstock. I love the matte lavender edging. I love the illustrations. I love the chunky little guidebook. I love the artist's note for every single card. I love the choices that Logan has made when it comes to any particular changes. The fish actually being one example of a change. It's still a fish, but you know, the interpretation is here. We have a star, which is a character's compass from Sailor Moon, from what I remember. I mean, I love this little... I know some people don't like faces in their suns and moons, which is fair, but I actually don't mind. I quite enjoy them, actually. I love this cat. See, it's a cat rather than a dog. And Logan was like, will this be a deal breaker for you? Because I know you're a dog person. I'm like, no, like, it's not like I hate cats. I just happen to like have a dog. And this cat is adorable. So yeah, love it. It's lots of like Legends of Zelda and Kirby and Sailor Moon and Tamagotchis, and this is my favourite snake card ever. Oh my god, it's because it's cute, because it's Danger Noodle and Noodles, but also because it does remind me of my pet snake Reuben from back in the day. He was a lavender corn snake and he was beautiful. I keep forgetting to put like a picture in of him. I don't have that many photos of him. We didn't take as many photos back then. We didn't have like cameras on our phone basically back then. Right, so those are the decks. Now we're getting into the books. So first I'll go through the books that I read, and then any books that came in, and then oh, do you know what? I forgot. No, I'm lying. I brought my... do you know what? I put my list of things I wanted to talk about and my favourites for the month on my bastard phone, and with the checklist so I can check stuff off, and then I'm not using it. Right, okay, so it is now October, it is spooky season, and I haven't paired up any decks and tarot decks and oracles for this month, but I have just pulled out some of my spooky decks. I don't have that many spooky decks considering I'm a spooky bitch, but I've pulled out my zombie tarot, an oldie but a goodie. This deck is so clever. I love this deck. So I've pulled out my zombie tarot. I've pulled out my Bohemian Gothic by Bubba Studios. I have pulled out Le Tarot Interdit Vampiria by Victor Dixon. Apparently the books are getting an English translation. I don't know when they're supposed to be out. Someone said the end of this year, but maybe they meant the end of next year. I should look that up. But love this, or maybe it was the end of last year. When did I get this? Last year, didn't I? What even is time? I don't know. I've pulled out my my trusty Shadowland, which was my October spooky season gift to myself last year. I still haven't decided what deck I'm going to buy myself this year. But yes, I've got my Shadowland. I'm not pulling them, I'm not showing you them because I might be showing them next month. I've got my Halloween in a Tin. I've pulled that one out. I do have the full size as well. This, I actually trimmed this one as well. I trimmed the white borders off because they were annoying me. and so it was rattling around in its tin because then it was too small. So I made this adorable little spooky season coloured. It's so strange because it's not strange, it's colour theory. It's just the way colour works, but you can't, it's not really working. This is the closest I'm going to get it. This is a really classic Halloween purple and a lovely limey, yellowy neon green, and then like a real pumpkin orange. It just makes me so happy. And it's like the colours of the deck. It's kind of quite tall stack there. And then I pulled out the Aquarian Tarot because, you know, it's small and portable, and also, I don't know, it's, I was wondering if it would feel kind of autumnal because you've got these like reds and oranges and sort of, but it's quite a water, this card feels very airy and watery and cool, so it might not, I'm going to give it a go, maybe. Come on, camera. I wish I got a quid for every time I went, come on camera, stop being a bellend. So we'll see. I'm going to see. I haven't made any. Do you know what? Like I said earlier, I don't have that many Oracle decks, so I don't know what decks I'm going to pick. I might not. I might just go do straight up Tarot because I don't really have Oracle decks to go with these. We will see. We will see. So that's all still up in the air, but that's what I've pulled out so far. It could change. Tune in this time next month to find out what I actually picked, and then we're going on to books. And I'm going to pause to have another bicky. I polished them off so I don't have to keep pausing. Right, books. So I finally finished The Witches by Stacy Schiff. This is a historical look at the it's non-fiction is what I mean by that, account of the Salem witch trials of 1692. Really good, really enjoyed this. I've had this for several years, and then I saw Kellyanne Maddox raving about it over on Instagram, and I was like, oh, I keep trying to read that book, but I always stumble and get stuck. And I think what the problem was, right, because I'm such a silly little completionist, what I was doing is, at the very beginning of the book, it says a cast of characters, and then it lists, you know, people in and around the parsonage, some other Salem villagers, the core accusers, some of the accused, the authorities, among the ministers, cast of characters, a few skeptics. So basically it's just tons and tons and tons of people that are mentioned in this book. And then I was like, I have to know who all these people are, not realising that the best thing to do was to read the book and do like with Game of Thrones, right? And then just go to the map or the list of characters or the family tree or whatever it is, you know, like in the Song of Ice and Fire books, for example, and then look them up if I was like, oh, hang on, who was that again? So I think I read the entire list of characters maybe 4 times through, and maybe the first few pages several times, and just kept quitting because I'm like, I don't want to have to read all these names again. So this time I did the sensible thing, which I think is what you're meant to do, which is just go straight in on one. And if you a name, and they talk about, Stacy Schiff talks about the people, you know, she describes what, you know, who they are and what they do, and what what role they played within the Salem witch trials, you know. So this was just really, this is just like a you know, something to refer to. So yeah, but once I did that, fine, and I really enjoyed this. There's another one, I can't remember who's written it, which is about some like British witch trials, but I can't remember where. Is it the Pendle witch trials, or maybe was it somewhere else? I can't remember, but I'm like, I really want to read that one now. So highly recommend that if you want a history of the Salem witch trials. It's absolutely wild. I mean, people be like, and then it's taken me a good while, excuse me, because I've been reading roughly an entry a day after I'd read like the main chunks about like spreads and other bits and, excuse me, gross, sorry, other bits and pieces that are featured in tarot books often. So it's taken me a good long while, because I would read an entry or two from this, and then I would bounce into this and read a chunk of this every morning. It's my morning reading, is my non-fiction / study stuff usually, whilst I'm having my breakfast and my cup of tea and what have you. It's a nice way to ease into the day. So I finally finished Finding the Fool by Meg Jones Wall, Really enjoyed this. Didn't agree 100% with every single interpretation, but pretty close. I pretty almost did. I found there was some quite negatively skewed interpretations of some of the cards where I think there's probably a bit more nuance, the devil being one of them. And actually this is something that Laura over at Aquamarine 18 mentioned in their video. They did a really great review of this book, and I will try to remember, I'm just getting my pencil to link Laura's video. See if you, because I was like, I don't need to do a review of this book. Go watch Laura's. They give you all the information you need. So yeah, Aquamarine 18 Tarot and Books, I think they've changed it slightly, the title. But yeah, I've really enjoyed this. It's a really sort of, there's no gendered language used. It's really got like a really, I don't know, there's just something really warm and capacious and supportive and encouraging about the interpretations of a lot of these cards, or just the way that Meg Jones will write. I really enjoy that we get, you know, she covers the usual stuff that you see where they're talking about numerology and talking about having a tarot journal and all that stuff, and then she goes into you know, and then it just does to go into like actual meanings. And then at the back there is a great bit about spreads, but instead of just listing, basically she gives you you know, 4 card spreads, and then this is for all of the major arcana, which is great. So you pull 4 cards. So if you, it's called an archetype spread. So you can pull 4 cards for the Fool, and so card 1 would mean a dream. Card 2 would be a potential risk, right? Because the Fool is about to go off the edge of that cliff. Card 3 is a first step, and card 4 is a glimpse at who you might become, because the Fool is seen as sort of usually quite sort of new. It's funny, right? Because the Fool is seen as new beginnings, but the Fool sits outside of the tarot because they are 0. And so the Fool sometimes gets put at the end of the major arcana in a tarot book, or even when you buy a tarot deck, the Fool might be at the very back of the major arcana pile. And so it's interesting that we call the Fool new beginnings, because the Fool then therefore also represents endings, and also I guess represents sort of being outside of that time continuum of like beginning, middle and end, and of starting over again, because they're outside of it. Well, we're getting a bit philosophical, but anyway, so that 4 cards, and then it's listed all the different 4 card options for all of the majors and the trumps, and then the same goes for 2 card readings. There'll be loads of different ways that you can use it, and then 3 cards, and so on and so forth. So I really like that. It just saves time and space and gives you like loads of different options. So if you want to get started, now I'm gonna have to talk about Guided Tarot by Stephanie Caponi. I purchased this book, the set that comes with a copy of the Smithwaite, for a very dear friend of mine for her birthday, because she wanted to get into the tarot. And this had good reviews on Amazon. I've seen a few people on YouTube really sort of thingying it up. And I was like, oh, that's great, right? Because it goes through spread, it goes through numerology, it goes through, you know, having a tarot journal, it goes through all the meanings, it's got quick reference grids, tables for the cards, and you know, it's set up in a very sort of, it's a large book. It's set up with, you know, upright and key meanings, reversed key meanings, numerology, a little bit about the card, and then how to use it in different types of reading, whether it's love or career or, you know, general, what have you. And then like a little reflection or sort of journal prompt thing for you. Now, the way that this book sounds, that it's sold, it makes it sound like it's got lots more kind of exercises to teach you tarot leading up to before you get to the card meanings. It doesn't, so I was a bit thrown off by that, because I thought, oh, this will be great, my friend can work through it and then get to doing some readings. Now, overall this book is okay. I think it's fairly good. But what I did find a bit frustrating was, you know, and this is going to be, and I think I spoke about it a little bit on another video where I mentioned this book. Your mileage may vary on this, but I found the applying gender to human traits throughout this book pretty grating. And before we get into the meaning of the cards, Stephanie Caponi says that, where is it? Let me see if I can find it for you. Where she talks about the way that she's spoken about the cards. Hang on, this is about the spread. Sorry, I should have put a thing in it. Can I find it? Oh, for God's sake. Can I find it? Of course I can't find it now. But basically she says, because the Rider-Waite-Smith was made during a time where people, and in a culture that mainly saw that there were two genders, masculine and feminine, she says, I use masculine and feminine, male and female, he, her pronouns to refer to the characters in the cards. Fine, right? You know, the Queen, you're just cis woman, possibly, who knows? But, you know, that's kind of generally the assumption people probably made back when it was made, right? That's fine, like, whatever, right? I've been using tarot long enough to just be like, yeah, okay, sure. You know, there's nothing wrong with being a cis man or woman. I'm a cis woman. That's how I identify. But then she, like, doubles down and says things like, and it's more noticeable in the courts. So, when we get to the queens and the kings, the feminine energy of feminine energy of fairness and balance when making decisions. So here we go, sorry. Queens in tarot represent feminine energy, whatever that means. I would argue that what does that even mean without putting like gender stereotypes on it. That includes, so these are what feminine energies are: receptivity, honesty, compassion, and love. And so someone would say if a man is acting with love or receptivity, or intuition is one that gets mentioned all the time in this, right? He is embodying feminine attributes. But I don't think that's helpful, because I think they're just human attributes, and also non-binary people exist. So it's a very binary way of thinking that I have like fucking moved beyond. And again, your mileage may vary. I'm not going to belabor the point on this because I could go into a whole rant, and the number of times I've considered making a rant video about this whole situation that continues to be ongoing in tarot books that are sort of contemporary tarot books. And you know, it's very, I find it very limiting and very sort of cliche and stereotypical and not helpful. And that's why I'm really glad that things like Finding the Fool exist, or the new book by Charlie Claire Burgess, Radical Tarot. I thought I had pre-ordered it. I had not. So I do actually need to now go buy a copy because it is out. So I will be picking a copy of that up at some point, hopefully this month. But yeah, so what I was doing is I was reading an entry from this and then an entry from this. So this was like the palette cleanser after reading this sometimes, because things would stick in my craw a little bit. Now, the thing is, if that's not an issue for you, then this book is going to be great. It's a little simplified, but that's the point, because it's a guide for beginners. So, you know, I don't mean to like completely like shit on this book, because it does have some really great information in there. It's laid out really nicely. It's very easy to understand. There's some really great stuff on spreads. It's just my personal bugbear, because that's not how the world is, and that's not how even my own personal world is with the people that exist in it. I find it very limiting. So yeah, so those are finished. Not finished, still working through the Diogenes Club, or the Diogenes Club as I keep calling it. I'm halfway now, and that again, I've been really slow on these because I've had really terrible brain fog. I've really been struggling to like focus, because like I said, September was a month, and so I usually read fiction at night time in bed to sort of help me sort of drift off, and a lot of nights I wasn't even reading. I was so like tired, I was just laying down and putting a podcast on and just like zoning out. I didn't have the spoons to read, so I'm much less further along in this than I would like, but I'm getting into it. I'm enjoying it. And one that I didn't read much more of throughout this month was Poppet Magick by Silver Ravenwolf. But the reason this sort of fell by the wayside more often than not is because this is a reread for me, and so that it takes lesser. It's not as, can I find words? It takes less precedent, it's less high on the list. You know what I mean. So I've got about a third of this left. It looks like more than that, but that's because a big chunk at the back is just patterns. It's Poppet patterns at the back. So actually there is only about, I've got that much left to read, I think, ish. So, or maybe a little bit more. Anyway, it doesn't matter. If I just lost me fucking place. Oh no, there it is. Right, dog biscuits. That's what it was talking about. And then one book came into my life. Ow, motherfucker! Just, sorry. I just keep catching a cut that I got on my finger. And like, ow. Is Magick for the Resistance by Michael M. Hughs. I follow Michael on Twitter. He's quite an interesting character, and yeah, it's for Magick for the Resistance. He's in the States, so this is probably very US centric. It obviously has the Statue of Liberty on front. There is also another book that I really want to get, which is the one by Risa and Amy, who do the Missing Witches podcast, which I have spoken about many times over the years on this channel. Apparently I've seen a couple of folks that I know, Liz over at West Star Healing and Tom Benjamin, have been raving about that book, and it was on my list. I've had my eye out for that one. Again, another one I thought I had pre-ordered. I had not. Oh my god, I need to just sort myself out. So that I don't know if I'm going to read that this month. Other books that I've pulled out is, I got this for my birthday alongside Tarot for Real Life and Folklore, Cartomancy and Folklore by Roger J. Hall. My mum bought me 3 tarot books for my birthday that I had on my wish list. This is by Josephine McCarthy of the Aquaria course and tarot deck fame. She really knows her onions. I really enjoy listening to her speak on podcasts. She always has a lot to say, and it's very often incredibly interesting. So I'm like, this is a possible read for October. I don't know. I haven't picked out any fiction to read. I'm like, I really should just pull some fiction from my bookshelves that are already there that I haven't read, rather than buying more fiction. The struggle is real. Oh my god. And then this, I only ever got halfway through before getting really annoyed with it. And this is The Flame in the Cauldron by Orion Foxwood. But I hear so many witches that I respect and love rave about this book. And this was, I got this maybe 2018. When was this published? When was it published? I don't know. Let's have a look inside the book. It was published in 2015, so I probably got this in 2017, 2018. I don't know. And oh, what have I done? I accidentally, when I put the book down, for some reason the studio thing I'm using closed, but it's still recording, so that's okay. And I think I was still in a very atheistic magical practice. It's all very psychological model. Now I have like more of a spirit energy based, I'd say mostly spirit based practice. So I'm hoping that this is actually I'm gonna jive with this more. You know, we change, we evolve, we grow. Who fucking knew? So that's another possible. So that's that. I'm gonna just have to use my list that I actually created. So So channel, let's talk about YouTube. I don't have a particular channel to shout out this month. Again, I hadn't watched a huge amount of Tarot Tube until 2 weeks ago when I created or did the video on my 54321 tarot hashtag, which I've created a monster. I've made a rod for my own back. There are like, at this point, around or almost 100 VRs in 14 days. I've watched about 18 because I haven't had the time, and when I have had the time I haven't been in the headspace, because I don't want to just put these videos on in the background. I want to be able to actively be taking in what people are saying. I want to really pay attention and give the videos the respect they deserve, because people have taken the time out of their day to make this video and respond to this VR that I've made, or they've been tagged by someone else. And I mean, like, loads of people probably haven't seen my video and have been watched the one that they've been tagged by someone that they follow, or someone they follow they like, and they've decided to do the tag. It's fine, whatever, you don't have to watch my one. I'm not going to be sad about it. But yeah, it's like it's gotten out of control. I love it. I'm so excited. I've got goosebumps. I am just blown away by the response, and I spoke about this in my live chat last weekend. It's just really fun seeing the different interpretations, because I left it quite sort of flexible, and I knew that people would cheat, so I was like, if you want to cheat, fine. Like, so I think people feel like quite comfortable having a play with it, and it's really fun seeing the way people are interpreting, like, which 5 decks from their collection they're going to be talking about and showing. Really loving the book recs. I've been like on my phone making lists of books that I've not seen before, of decks I've not seen before. Loving the spreads where people are like, some people are doing like full-on spread demos, or sharing like diagram, like pictures, layouts of the spreads. I legit have goosebumps right now. It's been so much fun. People have such really interesting like advice, tarot advice, and I love hearing people talking about the cards that they would like to embody, or that they feel that they are. I'm loving seeing people's bits of paraphernalia and your beautiful spread cloths and your, oh my god, or like your habits, and learning about how people like to shuffle, or, you know, whether you knock on the deck or not. Like, it's just been, you know, and I have so many more to watch, but I feel like that is something I'm going to be doing through the rest of this year, is slowly working my way through them. So if I haven't got to yours, I'm really sorry. I do have a playlist. Again, I will have to make sure I share it. So what I'm saying is, talking about YouTube, I'm not here just bigging myself up because the tags, you know, been great. What I mean is, go check out people's VRs. It's so much fun. Go to that playlist, or just search hashtag 54321 tarot. Go see what people are saying, what people are sharing, what people are talking about. It's really, really, really fun. And I'm finding new channels that I've not heard of before as well, which is just another great thing about tags. It's just made me so excited. I have goosebumps. I love it. Thank you so much to everyone who is watching, commenting, taking part in the comments, taking part over on Instagram. Like, just love it. So that's my YouTube for the month. Podcasts. I haven't really watched. I don't watch podcasts. I listen to podcasts. I haven't really listened to any new podcasts. I've been listening to my usual favourites. One of my sort of more spooky season ones is Spooked by Snap Judgment. I've been listening to loads of those and re-listening to some of the older ones as well. It's really well produced. Glyn Washington, who is the presenter, he's really charismatic, and I love the way that he introduces the story with a story of his own, or an experience of his own, and then he closes it out in the same way. It's just so well produced, and it's so spooky. So yeah, Spooked, which I think I put in last month's as well. But, you know, I'm getting geared up for, I mean, who am I kidding? I listen to ghosty podcasts 24/7, 365 days of the year, pretty much. At least every other day I'm listening to something spooky and or true crime and or magical or tarot. And then I want to give, again, a shout out to Vayse. They launched season 2, and their first 2 episodes, it's a 2-parter from this month, and they were talking to Douglas Batchelor from What Magic Is This, which is another one of my favourite podcasts, which I've spoken about multiple times over the last few years. It was really nice to see the tables flipped and have Douglas being the one who's being interviewed rather than the other way round, because he presents his own very successful, very good podcast about magic and the occult. And I just really love the energy between Stephen J. Buckley and Peter C. Hine, who are the presenters of Faves. They're long-time friends. They're hilarious. They have great chemistry, and it's just really interesting. It feels like you're sort of sitting in with a cup of tea, sort of listening to some mates have a chat. I fucking love it. So yeah, those are my two, and I think I recommended them but the 2 podcasts I've recommended last month, I'm recommending again. Film and TV. Watched quite a lot of films. Me and my husband have been having film nights on sort of Saturday and Sundays, and the odd Friday when I haven't had a D&D game. So we've managed to get through quite a bit. But the highlights for me were the Little Mermaid live action, because that was on Disney. Oh my god. I went in with like low expectations because I didn't want to get it hyped up. The Little Mermaid was really important to me as a kid. So having a redhead protagonist for the first time was a really big deal for me because I was very heavily bullied for being a redhead. Like, having ginger hair was the fucking bane of my life as a kid. Like, absolutely tormented. I was bullied for other things as well, but one of the most visible things that people could pick on me for was the red hair. And pick on me they did. And to see Ariel as a redhead, it was like really like, oh wow, there's someone who looks like me. Now we also have Merida as well. And it, you know, it's a mermaid who, what, like, I was 7 or 8 when that film came out, so what kid doesn't like fucking mermaids? Mermaids are awesome. But I was like, I think it's going to be good, but I don't think they're going to top it. I am going to be controversial considering how much the original means to me. I think the live action is better. It's the first live action remake that I've watched that Disney have done. So I need to drink this. Well, because that was right on the toe, bloody hell. So I think they did a great job. I really liked Sebastian. I really liked the new songs. I think they did a great job with Eric. They really fleshed him out and made him interesting and fun. So that sort of all made sense. And there were things that didn't necessarily make much sense in the cartoon, which they've kind of changed up a little bit or explained a bit more in the live action, which made it make more sense. Loved it. And I know a lot of people ragged on what's her chops who plays Ursula's makeup. Why can't I remember her name? She's awesome. My brain is just, I can't recall information. It's terrible. But anyway, because obviously Ursula was based on Divine, who was a drag queen. Amazing. Worked with John Waters, that kind of thing. Love Divine. And so people were expecting Divine makeup. I think first of all, maybe redoing that, I just felt like leaving her as Divine-esque in the cartoon works. But also, this is a live action, and realistically, although she had the smoky eye and the dark lip and stuff, realistically I don't think Ursula as a sea witch in the live action would have been doing all of that very sort of intense drag makeup. It actually felt more real and achievable for a live action. So I wasn't angry. I'm coming at it as someone who was a professional hairstylist and makeup artist for 10 years. Like, I could see how they came to that decision. Like, there's no mistakes made. They would have done lots of test runs. They would have done makeup tests. They would have come up with loads of different ideas. They would have screen tested that decision was come to like for a reason. It wasn't an accident. And I know some people weren't happy with it, but I actually could see why they did. So that's my other controversial opinion about the film. But yeah, I really liked it, and I enjoyed the Scuttlebutt song. Some people hated it. I actually thought it was fun. I really loved the whole thing. And do you know what? I am just so pumped for like little black kids who get to see a fucking protagonist, live action protagonist, Ariel, looking like them. And you know, if you wanna, like, I remember when the first trailer started dropping at the end of last year, and there was all those react videos of little black boys and girls reacting to seeing Ariel's face as the camera pans on her, and they could see that she was black, and them going, oh my god, she looks like me. That, I like, if that doesn't warm your heart and tell you everything you need to know about why representation fucking matters, then I don't even know what to say to you. So I am just so pumped for this new generation of kids who like get this beautiful, and she the character, the Ariel, she was just, loved it. I loved it. I loved Javier Bardem as Triton. Like, this just, anyway, yeah, loved it. I would just be going on forever about a fucking Little Mermaid. So there we go. I really enjoyed, again, controversial, Ghostbusters Afterlife. I don't want to spoil it. The end was a little bit, there was a bit that was a bit mawkish and a bit like awkward because obviously, oh my god, my brain. What's his chops is dead. Oh my god, this is so embarrassing because these are what's his name who plays Egon is dead, so it makes the sort of that kind of thing a bit awkward, but and like with the intro to the film and stuff. But I actually really enjoyed it. I love that it was all centered around kids. I don't think this version of the film would have existed without the success of something like Stranger Things. I'm not mad about it. I love Stranger Things. I'm here for that kind of vibe. I thought that the kids were great. I really loved them. I thought they were really, I just loved it. I thought it was adorable, heartwarming. I loved the little like callbacks to the original. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. Or maybe I'm getting soppy in my older age. Another film that I really enjoyed was Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho. Ooh, I mean I'm an Edgar Wright fangirl, but that was oof. I did kind of guess the ending a little bit, but I wasn't mad about it. And actually, I think it just visually beautiful, music great. I mean, Edgar Wright is very particular about the music that he uses in his films. Obviously, Baby Driver being a very prime example. Another you know, he always wants a good playlist going, and he reminds me a bit of James Gunn in that sense as well, like having very particular about the music being used in the films when it comes to like popular culture music, like pop music or what have you. So yeah, really enjoyed that. I thought there was good performances all round, really eerie. I can really see how Edgar Wright's style has evolved as well from something like Shaun of the Dead, which is one of my all-time favourite films, and I will be watching this month because it is October. And seeing how you can his way of editing and shooting things has grown as he's grown. Like you can still tell it's him, but more mature, and I really like it. Yes, loved that. And then finally, Bright Young Things, the adaptation of Evelyn Way's Vile Bodies. This is a film that's about 20 years old. I think it was 2003, featuring, but not in any scenes together, our boys David Tennant and Michael Sheen, being very young and very pretty. Michael Sheen in it as Miles. I mean, he's just so cute. The same year that he was in Underworld playing like a long-haired, sexy werewolf guy. Like these two characters are so range. The man has range. I just love Michael Sheen. I love Michael Tennant, David Tennant as well. And I've just reminded myself that Michael Gambon died a couple of days ago, and now I'm sad because, you know, Michael Gambon, what a ledge. And then TV wise, I enjoy it. We finished Deadlock. We finished the last 2 episodes of Deadlock. Oh my god, if you have not watched that and you love a bit of a crime procedural, or you like laughing your tits off, go watch Deadlock. It's an Australian black comedy drama police procedural murder show. It's fucking hilarious. I've rewatched all of season 1 of Detectorists because, like I said, September has been a month and I needed something familiar and gentle, and so that I decided for this month that was going to be Detectorists with Mackenzie Crook and Toby Jones. It is literal perfection. I love it. 10 out of 10, no notes. And I am halfway through. I'm 3 episodes into Wolf Hall, which is an adaptation of Hilary Mantel's book, and it's all surrounding Thomas Cromwell and, you know, his shenanigans going on at the court and Henry VIII and all that stuff. I only managed to watch the first 2 episodes maybe about 6 or 7 years ago when it first went up on BBC iPlayer, and I watched the first 2 episodes and then they took it off and I was like, oh crap, I didn't finish it. So I have been patient. I'm sure it will come back on at some point. It's back. So I've watched 3 episodes now, so I'm halfway in. I've got like 19 days to watch the final 3 episodes. I'm planning to do that sometime over the next couple of weeks. Really enjoying it. Again, one of those it features a pre-Spider-Man Tommy Hiddleston It was the same year that Spider-Man Homecoming came out, but he'd obviously filmed this before he hit megastardom. He's adorable. But yes, so many really outstanding performances. It's a veritable who's who of British actors. Love, love, love. Again, 10 out of 10, no notes. Music, Because of Detectorists, and the beautiful theme song by Johnny Flynn, which was written and performed for the show. I have been listening to Johnny Flynn. He is a folk musician, and he has a very beautiful voice, and I've been just enjoying his dulcet tones. And then actually, get a bit pretentious with it, I've been listening to quite a bit of classical music. I have a playlist on Spotify that I follow, or that I have favorited, called Dark Academia, or Classical Dark Academia, or Dark Academia Classical, or some shit like that. And it's got loads of my faves. It's got a lot of very piano based classical, which are my favorites. I really love Satie, Chopin, Debussy, that kind of stuff. And there's some cello on there, you know, they said, like, and there's some like modern stuff on there as well, but it's very moody and but soothing. There's some more spookier stuff on there. I can't remember if Dance Macabre and some other bits are on there, but yeah. So I will try to remember to put the playlist down there as well. So I'll just do that. And then Misk, my Gothic horror collection. Oh my goodness, that's sold out. That's all gone. I do still have this other stuff in my shop, like more like there's still like a double pouch and spread cloths and pouches, just like, but not from my Gothic horror collection, just like more usual stuff. So still stuff there if you're looking. I will say my shop is going on holiday mode on the Wednesday the 11th of October at around 9 AM UK time. I'm going to just take a break and just put that on hold for a wee bit. I'm just going to have a little break in October from work. I'm going to have like 2 or 3 weeks just to chill till the end of October, beginning of November, and then I'll reopen again. But yeah, your girl needs a break. So just thank you to everyone who bought stuff from me. And I've been, one of the things I'm mentioning, because I've been really enjoying doing lots of like free, like this is all hand drawn, hand cut, freestyle embroidered stuff, and I'm really enjoying doing this. And I was thinking of maybe making some patches for people to sew onto like jackets and things. So I'm enjoying a lot of hand embroidery. I've been obsessed with ice cream mochi. Specifically the Little Moons chocolate hazelnut flavour. They've been on offer from the supermarket that I get them from, so because they're quite expensive, I'm buying them while they're on offer, because otherwise, fuck, I'm not paying that much for them. They're like £5 a box, usually for 6 little mochi, like fuck off. I've been obsessed with biscuit tea. Again, Kellyanne Maddox shared these teas, Yorkshire tea brand, like novelty teas. There's the jam on toast, which I haven't tried yet, and the biscuit flavour, malted biscuit flavour, which is what I was just drinking there. Oh my god, it literally does smell and taste like malted biscuits dunked in tea. It's so good. So I've been really enjoying that, so thank you to Kellyanne for that. I'm enjoying that it's slowly starting to cool down now. September we had a heat wave, was not impressed. I don't like the hot weather, but now it's slowly, it's still warmer than it usually is for this time of year, but I can feel it's ramping down. There are a few more red and orange and golden leaves in the trees. The trees are still quite green, but it's turning. So that's what I'm really enjoying. And the other thing is, a couple of days ago I found, because I'm having a lot of like hip and sits bones and lower back stuff going on, pain is one of the things I've been dealing with this month, and I was like, I need some help, because the stuff that I've been given by my physiotherapist is just not cutting it. And I was doing some research and I found this guy's channel, and he was talking about something to do with the sacroiliac joint and some exercises you can do for instant relief. And it fucking works. I could cry. Like, I was like, what magic is this? Oh, like the podcast. It's witchcraft. It genuinely works. And I'm like, I literally am walking around with this fucking pain, and you're telling me I had to do these like couple of exercises and it will relieve it. It doesn't take it away. He does say you need to do certain exercises to strengthen the muscles around that joint to help hold them in place. But these stretches and exercises will help, that he shows in the video, will help sort of rebalance the sacroiliac joint. Oh my goodness, mind blown. I managed to sleep more comfortably last night than I have literally in years from this short video. And I just like, why does no one tell you about this stuff? I wish I'd found this like 20 years ago. Anyway, so I'll share that down below in case you have lower back pain. And I think because when I say I have low back pain, I think my physiotherapist thinks I mean like the upper part of my lower back. But I'm talking about right, like in, you know, where you're getting right to your butt and right down where you're like, yeah, and that. And like, yeah, these exercises really did the trick. Wow, 103, not 103, an hour and 4 minutes almost. I'm going to just shut up. So, because this is way longer than it has any business being, frankly. I'm surprised anyone, if anyone fucking watches this, like, blimping heck, like, well done. Oh, God. Just get too hyped, I get too excited about stuff. So yes, that is all of my stuff for September faves. Not so many non-faves, because obviously I call them my faves, but I also talk about stuff that maybe I didn't enjoy. I kept it quite light. I think I, yeah, had reasonable criticisms about certain things that are not going to be criticisms for other people, aka, you know, this one. But yeah, I think I'm being fair on that front. So yeah, I'm going to go. I keep saying I'm going to go, so I'm just going to go. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that wherever you are safe and you are well and you are content and happy and all that good stuff. And I will see you in the next one. Ciao.